Welcome to the New Mexico Motorsports Report here on the Proview Networks. I'm your host, Dominic Aragon, Editor-in-Chief for the Racing Experts.
And I'm Brooklyn Green, pit-side reporter for the New Mexico Motorsports Report.
And I'm David Swope, host of the New Mexico Motorsports Report on ESPN Radio 101.7 The Team. And this weekend, NHRA wrapped up its 2017 season and crowned a new champion. Brittany Force, the daughter of NHRA legend John Force, claimed her first title in the NHRA Mellow Yellow Top Fuel on Sunday. She went on to capture the championship at Auto Club Raceway in Pomona, California. Chevy also went on to win the manufacturer's title. And as you can tell, it was quite an emotional time. Daughter of 16-time funny car champ John Force. And he was so beside himself, he actually kneeled down on the starting row. And so, of course, she's the first since Shirley Modowney in 1982, before both of you were born.
12 years.
12 years. All right. So anyway, but it was a pretty neat race. A lot of big battles. Unfortunately, of course, Ron Capps now has another second place finish. He didn't end up winning. Height ended up capturing that, and of course, it was actually in the first round that it happened, which was interesting because it went on. Tommy Johnson Jr. ended up winning funny car in Pomona, but both he and Robert Height had to use the sand trap because their cars wouldn't stop. Wow. And so it was interesting that Robert Height, I mean, it basically just blew the top off of the car, and so he wasn't able to catch the emergency to deploy the net, or what do you call that thing again?
Oh, like the parachute?
Parachute. Yeah. Thank you very much. So sorry about that. I've slept since then. But then also we had Tommy Johnson Jr. That was able to get the car back together and went on to win that one. Of course, it was already decided. Eddie Craik had already won the championship in Pro Stock Motorcycles, but then it was quite a battle. Bo Butner ended up beating out Greg Anderson, and actually Greg Anderson was eliminated by Tanner Gray, which had won 5 victories for the rookie for the season. But Bo Butner is your championship for Pro Stock. So it was neat to see the season come down to it, and of course, John Force Racing to come our way, and congratulations to Brittany Force on that championship.
The NHRA season is just like NASCAR. They're at it a majority of the year. Yep. They are going state to state on a national stage like that, and wrapped up this weekend. Yeah,
and 3 of the 4 divisions, it came down to the final race of the season, which is also like NASCAR, of course, now with with the playoffs. And so I already got a fine, for saying Sprint Cup. I mean, can you believe I said Sprint Cup? I mean, it's bad enough, but tell us a little bit what happened in Sprint Cup this weekend.
Well, Monster Energy Cup, that's another quarter in the jar, by the way.
I think it's up to $10 now.
Okay, $10.25.
Yeah, Monster Energy. And now, okay, so of course Monster Energy sponsored her Top Fuel dragster. So now we're all even.
There's all those connections.
Brittany Force, all right.
Exactly. Well, he's not in the playoffs, but he's a past champion. Matt Kenseth claimed the checkered flag Sunday at Phoenix Raceway. Kenseth passed the leader, Chase Elliott. When's this guy going to win ever, really? In the winding down laps of the Can-Am 500 to pick up his 39th career win. It was his first win since New Hampshire of July of 2016. Here's a guy I think we all probably thought, probably picked up his last career win last year, but to see him burn out, and then Brooklyn, you were there too. Yeah. He stands up on the hood of the car, the roof of the car, and all the fans are going wild. You would have thought Dale Earnhardt Jr. won this race.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the fans were crazy, but you know what, so was I. I mean, I'm not a huge Matt Kenseth fan, but seeing somebody who's going to go out, seeing them win on their way out, it just warms your heart, I mean, I was happy that he pulled it off.
And you always think of drivers who are running that well. They want to end on their own terms. Kenseth's not getting to end on his own terms like a Jeff Gordon or a Dale Earnhardt Jr. But to win in the second to last race, that still proves he's a winner. And I think that still shows he could probably run this competitive for the next 4 or 5 years. He's 45.
Well, I totally agree. And of course, Mark Martin, won 5 races at 50. Of course, we went back and broke that down a little bit, and there was 3 races between 45 and 50 before he won the 5. But yeah, the conditioning that these guys are in today, I think is significant. What's hard is he's at the top of his pay grade. And, sponsors are looking for someone that they can grow with, someone that they could potentially hire a little cheaper. And I think that that's really what happened in this case. And of course, you got to look at where Matt Kenseth, and of course, he announced just last year that he at this point he doesn't look like he's going to be driving in 2018. How do you walk away and just say, I love driving so much, I want to run with a team that's not able to compete? When you've been with JGR and you've had the best equipment, it's probably hard not to compete. The one thing that I thought about that could be a way that he could come back is, what if he wanted to start his own team? What if he got together with Carl Edwards?
And he said he wasn't interested in that, actually, because Jerry Jordan, our friend with KickingTheTires.net, asked that in the press conference Sunday. And he said, no interest in doing that, 0%. He was like very, very clear he didn't want to do that.
Wow.
And it kind of sparked something I wanted to ask. I thought, well, Tony Stewart was kind of approached about it. What about Matt Kenseth to the broadcast booth? So I waited around patiently, and I kind of waited for Kenseth to finish signing some hats. We went up and did a little one-on-one interview with him after he finished his media availability, and he goes, the likelihood of that happening is exactly 0. And I asked him, well, again, so I'm just like standing there, okay, why? And he goes, that's not something that interests me. If I'm going to be at the racetrack, I want to be back behind the wheel. I want to be at the racetrack driving. And I asked him, like, has anyone approached you about it? And he goes, no.
Well, and that's his humor too. That's
I love his humor.
That's his dry humor. But I mean, think about this guy. I mean, is he a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, 39 victories. I mean, if he went out and won a 40th, 649 starts, be 650. At
Countless
the
Xfinity
Monster
wins.
Energy NASCAR Cup Series level.
There
Did I get
you go.
$10 back on that one?
Nope.
I don't get the but anyway, I mean, what a career, and I mean, clearly, what a fan favorite, And there was, I guess, did you guys see that they were doing a painting in the winner circle of him that the track gave him, because they gave him a painting of commemorating his 2002 victory there.
Correct.
Well, I guess there was another one that was being done to commemorate this race, and of course. The number 2, I guess, was in it, so he had some comments about Brad Keselowski, or anyway. But go check that out on YouTube. It was a neat thing that they did for him.
Yeah, and I know who you're talking about. There's a guy who paints there in Victory Lane every time somebody wins. It's not Sam Bass, but I think it might be like the track's official painter, and they always present that painting. But what a way to go out, even if he crashes out next week in Miami. What a way. He won a race in his final year. I don't think many guys have been able to say they've been able to do that. But go ahead.
And I was just going to say, and what a relief. I mean, 51 race drought, his last victory.
Yeah.
So it was great to see that. But the Toyotas were just so dominant.
Yeah.
I mean, in that race. I mean, I thought Martin Truex was going to get up there and get involved in it. But let's talk about the other big story in the race.
The other big story, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah.
No, or is it not Dale Jr.?
Oh yeah, no, it's Chase Elliott and Hamlin.
Oh, Chase versus Denny.
Yeah.
Part 2.
So let's run the video, because I definitely have been itching to talk about this with you guys. So of course, here's the little nudge. Here's the hey, I'm coming. And then it's like, hey, another one, and I'm going to take you out. I'm going to push you out of the way.
Hey, I'm here.
So okay, just letting you know I'm there. So I'm going to come up. I'm going to give you a little nudge there, and then so he's going to. Okay, so I got to wait a little longer. So there was the other nudge.
Yeah, Chase
Here it comes.
bumper.
Now, was it a coincidence that the camera was right there? Did they know that was coming?
They had to be.
Everyone knew that was
yeah.
coming, and everyone was hoping that was coming.
Well, and I've looked at the tape. I've slowed it down. He did not turn right. He did not, turn right. So he didn't go out and like choose to just drive him into the wall. So let's be clear, that was a racing incident. His car was faster. I can't believe that there are people like, I know that everybody wants to be excited about he wrecked him and he got even, and you know what? He just was aggressive, and I'll give him that, but he didn't go in there and wreck him. No. And he didn't even turn into him. I mean, watch his white gloves. He did not turn into him. So I don't know why everybody wants to get, like all bent out of shape, because a few laps later, Matt Kenseth just came up and gave Chase a couple of bumps. Told him the same thing. Went right on around him.
And Hamlin in that transfer spot, winning the stages, or winning one of the stages, having the laps led, but just couldn't do it. But also another playoff elimination race out in Phoenix on Saturday. Yeah,
William Byron took the win at Phoenix, but perhaps the bigger battle was the playoff cut line. Byron won the Ticket Galaxy 200 at Phoenix Raceway on Saturday, but the battle between Daniel Hemrick and Cole Custer was won for the final transfer spot. Hemrick ultimately prevailed and passed Custer with a few laps left in the race. He joins Byron, Elliott Sadler, and Justin Allgaier in the Championship 4 this weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway.
What a power move there, and how clean it was. We thought, is there going to be a crash? Is there going to be something that happens here? No, it was clean racing.
It was clean.
And in a change of events, too, it was really interesting because the place we were staying with our crew, Cole Custer's uncle and aunt were staying at the same place. So we got to chat with them about it Saturday, and they were talking about it Sunday, like, no, you know what? Cole got beat straight up. It was great, clean racing.
Yeah. Well, and as a rookie, I mean, what a season he's had. I mean, definitely has got a ton of talent. And of course, you and I remember back in Phoenix when we got a quote from him, he didn't even know how to say Albuquerque. He's like, what is that word? So that was really cool. But on the flip side, in the Monster Energy Cup Series, no Chevrolets.
No Chevrolets.
In the Xfinity, all Chevrolets. Pretty interesting because it's going to be the battle of JR Motorsports and then, of course, Daniel Hemrick.
Hemrick's co-starring that lineup.
Yeah, and I mean he's on the outside looking in, so he's the wingman. He's not the buddy. He's the wingman.
There you go.
So we're gonna see what happens. So I got to ask you, I mean, who's gonna come away with it? Justin Allgaier? You think he's gonna get over there? Or you think it's gonna be quite a battle with William Byron?
I think Byron takes it. Byron's going to win that just because of how good he's been at Homestead Miami Speedway in the Truck Series. No matter where he's run, or well, he's only run there once, but really good. He's 1 for 1. I think he'll be 2 for 2. Because I think your winner in the Xfinity race is going to win the championship. Right. There's not going to be a second place finisher winning the title. But before we go to commercial break, one more race this past weekend, Friday night, NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Carnage. There was debris, hurt fillings. Plenty of crashes, too. The truck race did have it all. But Johnny Sauter went on to pick up his second straight win in the trucks. One playoff driver had his championship hook dashed and crashed into the Lucas Oil 150. Ben Rhodes and Austin Cindric made contact, triggering a multi-car crash on the front stretch. You can see there Ben Rhodes coming to a rest, and so did his playoff chances. The wreck took out Matt Crafton, but he had enough points to advance. Rhodes did not. Thoughts on that crash, guys?
What'd they do? They got rid of the stat of having to have a restart in the first lap. What they wrecked on the first lap 8 times in a row or something like that. Yeah. They broke that. It was a boring race up till what, the end of the second stage? That happened?
We had 2 red flags.
Yeah,
3.
It was insane.
3. Yeah.
It was insane. I was like, come on, let's get this track cleaned up. Let's finish this race. I want to see this.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Cindric called it a move when they interviewed him on the red flag, similar to what happened at Homestead the previous year with Carl Edwards and Joey Logano. So hard racing. And Cindric's had the reputation after wrecking 2 people, but more NASCAR coming up, along with Spencer Hill in-house, local racer. You're watching the New Mexico Motorsports Report here on the Proview Networks.
Why not? Again, Kelly. This time, she's done it.
Heiss, it laid out, and he caught it! What a catch for Austin Heiss! Sauer will get to set Thompson for the win. Yes! The Wolverines are the 4-time state champions.
Kaylee Foote again. She's done it! And Logan, they've won the 2A state championship.
Set here for Devaney. The tip, yes! For the championship, Brett Devaney They have dethroned volleyball royalty.
When I train for American Ninja Warrior, I schedule regular workouts to stay in shape. To keep my car in Ninja Tough shape, I head to a Napa Auto Care Center for regular maintenance and genuine Napa auto parts, like brakes and batteries. I trust my Napa Auto Care Center for quality parts and quality service. And with the 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty, I drive away with peace of mind every time. Visit AutoCareNM.com to find a location near you.
Garden Sorts Team Sales is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Get into the game. Garden Schwartz Team Sales features fine products and apparel from Wilson, Schutt Sports, Speedline, and Russell Athletics. We offer custom embroidery and screen printing services for all of your school or club needs, from team uniforms to school letter jackets. Specializing in all sports and serving all communities, from big schools to small schools, from up north to down south, or all points in between. Garden Schwartz Team Sales. For great prices, friendly staff, and quality products, call Garden Schwartz Team Sales today at 1-800-880-7767. That's 1-800-880-7767. Since 1939, Garden Schwartz Team Sales is a proud supporter of New Mexico youth athletics.
Welcome back to the New Mexico Motorsports Report here on the Proview Networks. I'm David Swope.
And I'm Brooklyn Green, pit side reporter. And today we have Spencer Hill, driver of the number 4S Mini Sprint, joining us. Welcome, Spencer.
Thank you. I appreciate it for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it.
So yeah, talk a little bit about your racing season. How did this season go for you?
Well, the season was definitely full of ups and downs. It was a roller coaster season for us. We started out the season running for Bobby Seals in the 4S Sprint car, and we were having a lot of fun with that. And about midway through the season, about August, we went ahead and we put more focus towards the mini sprint side of things, and we felt pretty good about that. We ran 25 races this year, came home with 3 wins, and only got rained out 3 times, so not too bad.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. We got some pictures here. Is that the sprint car?
Yeah, so this is the 305 Wing Sprint that I drove for Bobby Seals this year. That was a real fun car. That's a Maxim chassis. We ran that in Aztec and Southern Mexico Speedway. That's another picture of it from last year.
You know, what is it? What is a 305? Well, actually, there's the micro sprint, right?
Yeah, so that's the family-owned micro sprint that I run. I run that car wing and non-wing.
And so what kind of power plant is in the micro?
So the micro sprint is a 600cc engine. We run Yamaha engines in those.
Is that a spec motor? Does everybody in the group run the same motor or same type of motor?
No, so we run a Yamaha ourselves, but there's a lot of people that run Suzuki, Honda, a few people run Kawasaki still. And so the motor rule around here is it needs to be 600cc, but we also have a class called Outlaw class, so you're able to bore and stroke the motor, and you just have to add weight around here to run that. And the bigger tracks around, Oklahoma, California, they have a separate division for that. But around here, we just have a weight rule that you have to add. And luckily, I'm a big driver, so it works out pretty well.
So you can all run at once. You don't run different divisions, basically, by putting the weight on. You can all run at one time.
Correct.
Let's talk back about the 305. 305 motor, or what's the 305 stand for?
So the 305 is 305 cubic inches.
Okay.
And so that's a small block, of course. And so with that, we run with the wings. That's a 25 square foot wing on top. And those are really popular right now down in Las Cruces. We was running with the Lucas Oil Power I series this year. That was a new series formed down south. And we got up to Aztec a couple times. and mainly in the Las Cruces area. Now we'll be running that new track in Vado with that series. And that one's looking pretty good to start growing. I believe the talks are going on right now to bring that up to Sandia Speedway too, as well as continuing the partnership with Aztec Speedway and what will be the new track in Vado.
So would that be maybe like an 8 to 10 race series where you'd go from track to track, or?
Correct. So that with the addition of Sandia and possibly expanding with Aztec a little bit, it might grow to about 16 races, which is just about perfect for sprint car teams around here. Not too much wear on the car, but enough to, keep everybody happy.
You mean the
It's hard to
driver's
do
happy?
that on a racetrack.
So when the difference between, I mean, of course, Vado is being built, so it's still hard to say how the track is. But how different are maybe Sandia, Aztec, and Las Cruces?
So actually, they all are on paper the same size, which you can argue that all day long.
Right.
But the biggest difference between those three tracks is you have Aztec up north, so that clay up there is very sandy, very abrasive on tires. You have Sandia here in the central, and you pretty much grab all of that clay from the Rio Porco. And so that's kind of more of a silty, softer clay. So that's why you see a lot of the ruts and holes sometimes appear there. And then you have down south in Las Cruces, you have a very hard clay. And so that tends to build rubber a lot of the times. They've been doing a great job down there, though, all year. And the tracks have been really good in all three tracks, really. So that's the biggest difference, I would say, between the three.
Is there one that fits your driving style better than another?
Well, this year, not that much. In the past, my favorite track has been actually in Grants, New Mexico. That's Uranium Capital Speedway. They don't run sprint cars. We've been running the micro sprints over there. But I really enjoy that clay. I don't know where they got that stuff, but it's like magic because it's just it's like gumbo. It's really, really soft, holds moisture well, and they do a really good job with what they have over there.
So I know you just raced your last mini split race at Grants. Talk a little bit about that. How'd that go for you?
So that was fun. That was a really good race. I had a really good battle the second day and the first day with Cody Dons. The first night, that was a Friday night show, the track moved to the top, which I've never seen at that track before, so that was a lot of fun. We were railing it, and that was a non-wing race, so we were really backing the cars in, more so than I've ever seen there. And I got a little over-ambitious, lost the handling of the car with a few laps to go, let Cody take the win. But the second night, we came back with the wing car, and we got a little bit of redemption. Tracked down Cody after about 13 laps, then made the pass on the bottom and took the win. So that was our third win of the season.
Nice.
That's great. So Grants, does it got a lot of banking to it? I always kind of remembered it as being somewhat more of a flatter track. Is that still the case?
So they reconfigured it. I don't know the last time you were there, but now it has a lot of progressive banking, which, as anyone within the business knows, that makes for really, really good racing. Down at the bottom, it's really flat. I would say, just a few degrees, but at the top, it grows to almost 10 degrees of banking. And on a dirt track, that's quite a bit. So you're able to move around quite a bit. And that really, I think that's the main part of what makes that track so special to me, is you are able to have options, and I love options.
Yeah, Grants, New Mexico always puts on a really good show. I know that the track there, the mini sprints are really able to open up. And at Sandia, the track is so small that when you get so many of them, I mean, you don't really get to see what those mini sprints are made of. And at Grants, I always like going there and watching you guys because you're able to really get some momentum, get some speed going. Yeah,
and they did a good thing in their minds with making that small track at Sandia. Yeah. But from a driver's standpoint, it's not the Tulsa shootout, Mm-hmm. It's a track inside of a bigger track, and I feel like when they do that, it's really hard to, focus on the track prep correctly down there. And so I think that part of it kind of takes away from it. But it is an equalizer, and some of the cars that usually aren't up front are able to have a chance and work on their setup and have a good shot at, pulling together a victory.
Is there any particular reason they don't run sprints at Grants?
So right now, it's a little bit too narrow to run sprint cars at Grants. I've actually practiced there in the SCH Motorsports non-wing 360 USAC sprint car, and also with the Bobby Seals 305 wing sprint car. And both were really, really fun. if they could just widen it out just a little bit and make a couple renovations to the track, that would be one of the best sprint car tracks, I think, in the Southwest to hold sprint cars at.
Well, I think their parking is a little bit smaller too, so it might be a little harder to get. I mean, I'm not saying transports, but larger trailers, multiple teams, might be a little harder to get in there.
Yeah, from the logistics side, there's just a little bit of work to do, but that racetrack is amazing. I really do enjoy going down there.
So we've got a picture of a speedway kart. Is that kind of where you got your start? Is with karting?
Yeah, so this is where I got my start in racing. A lot of people around here did the quarter midget stuff. I decided to start on dirt right away. I'm just, always slinging that dirt. You have to love it.
Yep.
So this was taken, I believe, in the 2008 year at the Holiday Classic in Phoenix, Arizona, which is a really prestigious go-kart race out there. They've had names as big as J.J. Yaley has won that. A couple big names down there. A lot of the local sprint car drivers like to go on their off season and go down there. I'd like to run that again one of these days. We had a lot of luck down there with that. I won that, I believe, 5 times.
Oh my gosh.
So 5-time champion of the Holiday Classic. That was a lot of fun out there.
Wow. And so we've got, I think the next slide, there's another one of the sprint cars. I mean, it's when Truman West. What's it like to drive for someone else? I mean, as a family team, I mean, you've always got to answer to your dad or your mom, I mean, you got to do your homework and, you got to clean the car and all that kind of stuff. But to drive for someone else, is there a higher pressure because you're afraid to tear it up, or is there more expectation to win? What's it like to drive for someone else?
So I've always had a pressure on myself not to tear equipment up. From the beginning, we've never really had all the money to go out there and fix parts every weekend. So from the beginning, my dad and my great uncle Jim, he's always taught me just take care of the equipment, the wins will come. And so I've just always kept that with me throughout my career. And so racing for other people, they want you to race really hard. They want the results right away. But you do have to be careful because you got to drive smart and you want the respect as well.
Yeah, there's another shot there. So I was just always curious. I mean, what in your progression? I mean, were you always shooting for sprint cars? Was that kind of the top class for you?
So not exactly. My dream was always to go NASCAR racing.
Okay.
And it took until about 13, 14 years old where I really understood that money is a big part of that. Talent only takes you so far, unfortunately, in this business nowadays, and that's a real heartbreaker. In 2012, I had a great opportunity to go out west and race with Ron Sutton's Winter Circle and a USAC midget, and that was on pavement.
I think we have a shot at, there we go.
Yeah, so this was the first car that I drove for Ron Sutton. That was actually Jessica Clark's old car, and this was in the Ford Focus midget series out there. Really fun series. Those cars are so awesome to drive. There's nothing like being able to barrel it in the corner. And usually with asphalt cars, if you get a little bit too hot in the corner, you push really bad. But with these cars, with them being so light, they actually got freer and freer the deeper you drove them in. So I feel like that really helped me transition from the dirt side to the pavement side, being able to really attack the corner and not over-tight myself through the corner. And we did couple races out there at Stockton 99 Speedway in Stockton, California, and that was a lot of fun out there. I think I came home with a best finish of 2nd in that car.
So would you have and here's the modified, and tell us a little story behind that.
So this is a NASCAR All-American Series modified, and these were a lot of fun too. I ran this in Roseville, California with a separate team. Ron Sutton's Winter Circle actually ended up shutting down at the end of the 2000, I believe it was 12 season, and I got an opportunity to go modified racing with one of the crew chiefs from Ron Sutton's, and that was Jason Altaling. And so he formed a team called Eclipse Racing, and that was a lot of fun out there because we were able to get some big car experience for me, which is something that I've never gotten to experience, especially with the full body cars.
Yeah, and so would there be talent scouts that would come out for the other NASCAR teams, or maybe even ARCA teams or something like that, and would come out and watch you guys and maybe recruit people?
So definitely more so in California than New Mexico. It's hard to get eyes on drivers out here. But that's the reason that we went out there. We really wanted to show my talents and kind of expand into the asphalt side of things, because asphalt's obviously really important to get a little bit of knowledge about it before you step into something like an ARCA ride or a truck team or Xfinity car. And so by going out there, I learned so much with the Ron Sutton's program. I would do that over and over and over again. It was definitely worth it.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I was just wondering what your upcoming plans are for next season.
So next season, we're still working on things. I've been working closely, trying to market myself with some of the NASCAR teams too in the garage. I've had the opportunity to go out to a couple tracks this year. We're working on nailing down a sprint car ride again. That's something I'd really like to do. Whether we chase a championship or just go traveling around the Southwest is to be determined. But definitely some more micro sprint stuff too. Probably go out to California Speed Week again. That was a lot of fun this year as well.
Well, we're going to ask you to stay over and talk a little bit about your experience at Talladega, Martinsville, and last weekend at Phoenix.
Of course.
So we're gonna have Spencer hang over with us. So stay tuned. Watch a couple of commercials. We got to pay some bills. We'll be right back with you on the New Mexico Motorsports Report here on the Proview Networks.
When I train for American Ninja Warrior, I schedule regular workouts to stay in shape. To keep my car in Ninja Tough shape, I head to a Napa Auto Care Center for regular maintenance and genuine Napa auto parts, like brakes and batteries. I trust my Napa Auto Care Center for quality parts and quality service. And with the 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty, I drive away with peace of mind every time. Visit AutoCareNM.com to find a location near you.
City Sports Bar. Proud supporter of Proview Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. Catch all the sports action from high school, college, pros, and MMA on one of our 35 HD TVs. Start your night off right with any selection from our delicious menu prepared with fresh, never frozen ingredients. Duke City Sports Bar, Albuquerque's newest sports bar. Located on Eubank and Montgomery, dial 505-433-4020.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. LADERA Golf Course. Opened in 1980, LADERA features a full 18 including spacious greens, a large driving range, roomy practice putting greens, and 4 large lakes. Surrounding LADERA, beautiful views of the Sandia Mountains to the east and volcanoes to the west. LADERA is a challenging city-owned course with the longest playing yardage of any other city courses. For weekend tee times and more information, call 505-836-4449.
Welcome back to the New Mexico Motorsports Report here on Proview Networks. I'm Brooklyn Green, pit side reporter.
And I'm David Swope, host of the New Mexico Motorsports Report on ESPN Radio 101.7 The Team. And joining us is Spencer Hill. I'm glad you could stay over.
Thanks for having me over here. It's been fun.
Absolutely. Well, I know we share some announcing. You've done some announcing out at Grants. It's actually one of the first things that I kind of got involved in. I mean, as a driver first, but helping around the track. I mean, it's just fun to kind of talk about the action that's going on. And as you know everybody. You know them by number. You don't have to look down and say, well, that's Jimmy Johnson. I mean, the 48's Jimmy Johnson. But talk a little bit about announcing and how you kind of got involved in that.
So announcing has always been something that's really interested me ever since I was little, whether it was playing with my cars around the kitchen table or playing video games with Jason. Whatever it is, I've always been really talkative. Anybody that is friends with me knows that. I love to talk, and racing is definitely my go-to when I do talk. So it's kind of just a natural fit for me to go help out and volunteer over at Uranium Capital Speedway whenever they need the help, and I'm not doing racing myself. So I've had the opportunity. I announced for their Witten's Warriors show 2 years ago, and then I announced for one of their shows this year, and it's been a lot of fun. I really like giving the fans a perspective from inside the seat. That's something that I feel is really important for the fans to understand, is what's going on to the track as the night goes on. Why are they watering it while we're sitting here, just trying to explain what's going on throughout the night. And that's really what I focus on when I do announce. And that's something that I think drivers like Jeff Gordon and now Dale Jr. going to NBC is going to be able to bring to the table, which is something that's really needed again.
Have you ever considered kind of scrapping the whole driving thing and just doing the announcing?
Well, you got to have backup plans.
Right?
Well, racing's a backup plan.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, so I guess the answer is no. So I was kind of curious because one thing, I've had the opportunity to interview Dale Jr. a couple of times, and he is so honest with his answer that sometimes I wonder how's he going to be on the other side of asking the questions, because he's so introspective. Whenever you ask him a question, he actually thinks about it and answers. Every once in a while he'll answer emotionally, but do you ever just sit back and kind of listen to the announcers or watch the interviews and go, I would have done that differently, or I really want to take that part or not that part? What do you think, Dale Jr.? How do you think he's going to do?
I think he's going to do great. I think we need somebody up in the booth that's not going to be a cookie-cutter voice, that's going to bring a fresh attitude to the table and really thoroughly explain why certain drivers are doing what they're doing at the time. That's something that I think he's going to be able to bring to the table, and Jeff Gordon's brought that to the table in his own right, as well as Jeff Burton. And it's good to have a fresh face that's been in the car, the last 10 years. And I think that's going to be really good for the sport.
What do you think of Michael Waltrip's his pit walk?
Oh, I love it. You gotta have. I know. Not everybody loves Michael Waltrip, but he's such a good guy. He's so marketable. Right. He's both goofy and serious at the same time. And when you put that together, putting a microphone right in front of the drivers right before they strap into some of the most important races of their life, it's pure gold.
I know he came to New Mexico. Did you ever have the chance of meeting him here? I know he went out to Sandia Speedway.
I did, yeah. When he did come here before the K&N race, the inaugural K&N race that ran here. He came here. I talked to him just for a brief minute. He was really busy that day, but just a great guy, really good guy, loves the sport, loves giving back. Yeah,
I think that the pit walk is neat to see how the drivers react to him, because I think some don't like the intrusion. I walked up and asked Chad Knaus one time. He had his book sitting on the back of the car, and so he looked approachable to me. He scolded me for that he was in race, he was in race prep. Likewise, I walked up, Kurt Busch was like, oh yeah, and then his PR guy's like, no, you're not, we're getting ready to qualify. Don't you know we're getting ready to qualify? And so it's just funny how some of the drivers are much more laid back and open to that, and some aren't. Actually, I probably said the one driver that I've seen change the most with Michael Waltrip is Denny Hamlin. I mean, we've had a lot of talk, of course, about Denny and Chase and the race and the contact and all that kind of stuff, but he has lightened up a lot more, because at first he almost ran to the other side of the car when he saw Waltrip coming. So it's interesting to see how they deal with that. But talk a little bit about you're going to school, working on a degree in marketing. Talk about how you might be able to use that to work your way into maybe a position at NASCAR.
Yeah, so I'm attending UNM. This is my junior year over there, and my major is marketing. And I wouldn't be doing that for any other reason except for racing, which sounds crazy because you go to college, and for a lot of drivers, that's their backup plan. Right? So marketing is so important nowadays. Unfortunately, talent just doesn't get you all the way there unless you get some miraculous breakthrough like Kyle Larson did. So by using that marketing that I'm learning right now in school, I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to go talk to people, because it's all about who you know. I mean, you guys know that in this sport. It's all about who you know. So using the marketing and going over to potential sponsors, showing them, hey, I'm not just a good driver, but I can actually present your product in front of people and know what I'm talking about. I feel like that's really important for companies.
Well, would you agree that that's a perfect example of how Smithfield and Eric Amarola have stayed together? I mean, the whole deal was they had to put a deal together where they actually had to break a contract to come over and do that. But they have a segment on Claire B's show every week, and I think that he's a great spokesman. But of course, who couldn't be a great spokesman talking about bacon? I mean, bacon is the ultimate thing. But I think that's good. But on the flip side, great win with Matt Kenseth last weekend at Phoenix, but yet he's without a ride, and a lot of that has a lot to do with where he is with sponsorship money, and it's more the sponsorship money and the fact that I think that you can hire a younger driver for less. That's always been the gig. It's a younger guy is faster and will do a better job and do it for less. What's your thoughts on that talent sponsorship balance?
Well, it just goes to show that sponsorship dollars matter that much in the sport right now. I mean, a set of tires is $2,500.
Right.
That's almost the budget that we have for 5 races in one of the sprint car deals over here. So whether it's small town racing like me, my dad, and Jim were doing, even back to the go-kart days, or growing into a sponsorship such as William Byron has with his school, you have to bring the dollars to the table to allow your talent to talk. And there comes to a point where even if you do have all the dollars and you do have all the talent, there's more money coming through with a younger generation. And these companies want younger faces in front of the camera because they'll get more attention. And it sucks for people like Matt Kenseth, because I still think he has a couple good seasons in him. But he's come to the realization that, this is probably it. And to see him go out on top this past weekend was awesome. It was just storybook.
Well, you think about marketing. You think about the marketing campaign several years ago that Kansas did, where they basically brought in a robot, right? And then the robot malfunctions, and then they go and they find like 5 other Matt Kenseth robots, because that was kind of the joke that But he was clearly emotional, and I think that's one of the things that NASCAR really brings to the table that people find very entertaining is the level of emotion. Of course, we were talking in an earlier segment about Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin and all the Chase fans that have finally seen him show up, because he showed some emotions like, hey, I'm not going to let you push me around anymore. A 7 second place finish isn't good enough for me.
Exactly.
And what was interesting is, and I'm sure you broke down the race too, is to watch him come up and watch Chase come up and let Hamlin know he was coming a couple of times. Well, it wasn't too many laps later that's really what Kenseth did too. He came up and kind of, hit him a couple of times, and it's like, either let me go or I'm going to put you in the wall. I mean, that we all know as drivers that's exactly what it means. How hard they hit you is probably a different level. But hey, if there's anybody watching that kind of wanted to reach out and connect with you, maybe one of the NASCAR teams is watching, wants to hire you, how would they reach out and connect with you?
So you can find me on Facebook. That's at Spencer Hill Racing. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Spencer_Hill4. And then you can go to my website at www.spencerhill-racing.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming out today.
Thank you guys for having me. It was fun.
All right. Well, we got a whole lot more coming up, including we're going to be talking about the Final Four, and not the Final Four in basketball, but the Final Four in NASCAR for Camping World Truck, Xfinity, and of course Sprint Cup. I just said Sprint Cup. Wow. Monster Energy. Yeah. I think it's up to like $10 now for making a mistake. But anyway, we've got a whole lot more coming up on the other side, so stay tuned. You've been listening to New Mexico Motorsports Report here on the Proview Networks.
Hoops NM Basketball Center is coming soon. 10 full courts broken into 2 wings for ultimate basketball and volleyball play. Locker rooms, a lounge area, a pro shop, and a full snack bar will all be a part of a great experience. Convenient parking and access will make the Hoops NM Basketball Center a premier facility for league play and competitive regional tournaments. With over 9,000 square feet, Hoops NM Basketball Center will take court sports play to another level in our community. Courts are regulation high school size with wood floors and seating for approximately 350 per court. Major sponsors and supporters are being assembled now. If you're interested, contact Dan Serrano at 505-249-7994. Send him an email, hoopsnm@aol.com. That's hoopsnm@aol.com. Hoops NM Basketball Center, a premier sports facility serving our community.
When I train for American Ninja Warrior, I schedule regular workouts to stay in shape. To keep my car in Ninja Tough shape, I head to a Napa Auto Care Center for regular maintenance and genuine Napa auto parts. Like brakes and batteries. I trust my Napa Auto Care Center for quality parts and quality service. And with the 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty, I drive away with peace of mind every time. Visit AutoCareNM.com to find a location near you.
Looking for some exhilarating fun? It's at All Out Zone. All Out Zone showcases Nerf dart tag games from team elimination battles to human versus zombies, pitting 2 teams against each other in fun, organized chaos with trained referees, music, and a full arsenal of Nerf blasters. You need team parties, birthday parties. We can customize the party to fit your needs. Visit us at the Coronado Mall. Give us a call, 505-444-6964. All Out Zone. Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Christy May's restaurant is locally owned and operated with a family-friendly atmosphere. Their array of homemade comfort food is just like your mom's. From homemade chicken pot pie to their famous chicken salad on a croissant, Christy May's even offers lunch catering. Christy May's restaurant is located at 1400 San Pedro Drive, Northeast. They offer drive-in, carry-out, and catering. Open Monday through Saturday, 10:30 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Welcome back to the New Mexico Motorsports Report here on the Proview Networks. David Swope. I'm Dominic Ottagon. We're going to turn to Brooklyn now for what's happening locally.
Yeah, so this weekend, guys, we've got nothing going on here locally. Welcome to winter. Back to you, Dom.
Yeah. Kind of a shame, right? It's getting so cold, so there's not really too much locally going on as far as racing.
It's always a sad time of the year.
Right.
Yeah, this is the part where it gets really sad. But hey, we got points to look at.
Christmas, Dom.
we got Christmas, we got Thanksgiving, but from a racing standpoint.
Oh, now you get to go back and watch all your favorite racing movies, you know?
True.
I mean, that's what we got to talk about exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So the other day we went and, we had to pick up our food. And so I was thinking about leaving Ricky Bobby because I know every time we go somewhere and you have to call your name, it's always we call for Ricky Bobby. So.
Oh, we're going to go eat at Dion's or something.
Yeah.
Order for Dale.
By the way, Dion's, you can go ahead and send us $1 for that sponsor plug right there.
The amount of times my racing friends quote Talladega Nights a day is absolutely out of control.
Yep.
Always.
That's a great movie. It's so quotable. It's so memorable.
Oh, yeah. It's hilarious.
Exactly. Well, let's take a look at your NASCAR points heading into this weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. 4 drivers left. Only one's going to be crowned champion on Friday night. Christopher Bell, Johnny Sauter, Matt Crafton, and Austin Cindric. Those first three names have been there before. They were part of that Final Four last year. Timothy Peters not on that list this year, but Austin Cindric is.
Well, I'd like to first comment, because we didn't get to talk to in the previous segment, about that contact. I mean, so we're going to blame Austin Cindric when Ben Rhodes came down and put a block on him.
That's our final answer?
That's our final answer?
Were they
That's
getting,
your final answer?
Well, I mean, were they getting... That's your final answer, okay.
Well, and then, of course, Matt Crafton gets all, rubbed up because, of course, it's his teammate. And then he's like, oh, well, we're going to settle this. He better not finish this race. I was like, what is going on with you guys? He'd already punched his ticket. But I tell you, it's going to be hard to beat Christopher Bell. I mean, what a season this guy has had. I mean, Johnny Sauter, of course, has had 2 victories, in the playoffs. But what a season he's had. Christopher Bell, 5 wins. He's such a talented driver that I think on the 1.5-mile track you're gonna see him run very well. But I think it's gonna be a battle between Sauter and Bell.
I was sold on that guy when we saw him at the Eldora Midsummer Classic from a couple years ago and going fender to fender with Bobby Pierce. And Bobby Pierce, another great talent with some underfunded equipment, but outdueling Pierce in that race in 2015.
Yeah.
And I've been sold on him since, seeing him win at Kansas in the Xfinity race. Had a little slide job move there on Eric Jones to go for the win. So
yeah,
I do agree with you there. I think Christopher Bell is the truck to beat on Friday night, but that's why we have a race, and that's what we got to watch to find out.
As I tell you, the stat, you're going to have to go dig up because I know that, you put laps led and you went to 2,000 races or whatever.
Yeah,
but
2,500.
Whenever had somebody at the NASCAR level won a championship and won the Chili Bowl in the same year?
You got me.
Yeah, so
that's something to go research.
We're going to have to look that one up because, Christopher Bell won the Chili Bowl, to start off this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's definitely going to start off and could in the season. This could be 2017 could be a banner year for that young man.
I can see it happening.
And the NASCAR Xfinity Series will crown a title on Saturday. Your 4 drivers heading into that. It's JR Motorsports starring Elliott Sadler, William Byron, and Justin Allgaier, along with co-starring Daniel Hemrick. So Hemrick's a supporting role there, but I think we're going to see a JR Motorsports driver take the title Saturday.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm definitely going for William Byron on this one, I think.
Well, Byron's won races this year. So has Justin Allgaier. Hemrick and Sadler have not won a race. And I know we're not going to have Cup guys in this field Saturday per the NASCAR rulebook, but I do think if you're going to win this title, you have to win the race. And I think we're going to see that this year.
Well, and, of course, Sadler, like you mentioned, he hasn't won yet this season. But also, Justin Allgaier, now his crew chief, is not going to be there for this race. And Daniel Hemrick's crew chief will be back, but he may not be on the pit box because they've had some good success with Randall Burnett. So, going to be a couple of things going on with that team. And so if you're looking for stability, I think that William Byron is probably the one to go to. Plus, remember, he won this race last year in a truck after he, failed to advance at Phoenix. So I think he's got some rights, some wrongs to settle. It's going to be a great race, though.
And you got Byron winning the title as well?
I do.
All right. Well, let's take a look at your NASCAR Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Final 4 here. Martin Truex, Kyle Busch, and Kevin Harvick, a repeat of 2015. This time, no Jeff Gordon. Got Brad Keselowski, who's making his first appearance. And like you alluded to the fact, there's 2 Toyotas and 2 Fords. This is the first time since 2003 a Chevrolet driver will not be competing for the title in the last race of the year.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. To see that not happen. To me, this would be a perfect season for Martin Truex, the only driver out of there that doesn't have a championship, to go ahead and see him win this championship. Overcame so much adversity this season. Solid driver all the way around. So, Martin Truex is going to be my pick on this.
Martin Truex, he's won the majority of his races on the 1.5 miles. Kyle Busch, strong at Homestead. Same with Harvick. They've both won there. Keselowski's led a bunch of laps. But, yeah, just really interesting to see Brad make that under this format for the first time. But I want to give you guys some food for thought as we look at this last race of the year.
Okay.
So there's a few things that are happening. So the 5 car with Casey Kane, it's been on track. Hendrick Motorsports has had that number since its inception. This will be the last time for who knows how long the 5 car will not hit the track. Think about all the drivers who've driven that car. Jeff Bodine starting out, Terry Labonte, Ricky Rudd, Kyle Busch, Casey Mears, Mark Martin, now Casey Kane. And This will be the last time we see the 5-car on track, dating back to 1984, about 2,000 races ago. So crazy to think that car's not going to be on the racetrack. And then with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Matt Kenseth, there's only been 2 other drivers in the history of the NASCAR Top Series who have won in their final start, and that hasn't happened since 1955. Kenseth and Dale Earnhardt Jr. have the opportunity to do that. Jr.'s best finish at Homestead was 3rd in 2013. Kenseth won this race in 2007. Are we going to see a 3rd time happen on this?
No.
2 in a row for Matt Kenseth? I'm not seeing it either.
I think Kenseth has the better shot than Jr. because Jr. has finished in the top 10 twice in 16 starts.
Well, it would be a little bit of poetic justice for Chevrolet to get up there, but if it's any Chevrolet is going to win this race, you want to talk about, historic 250 wins for Hendrick. You see Chase Elliott get this win. I mean, you talk vindication. Comes up 1 short. He's got, 2 more second place finishes he needs before he's actually supposed to have the victory. I mean, in his dad, Bill, it was like 9 second place finishes before his first victory. So if any Chevy's going to go up and spoil the party, I think it's going to be Chase Elliott.
You think he has the car strong enough to do it at Homestead?
No, I just said if any Chevrolet, it was going to be Chase.
Not the whole field, just the Chevys.
The whole field. Chase versus the field.
Correct.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And the thing with Jimmy Johnson, too, if he does not lead the most laps this weekend, here's another interesting stat. This will be the first time in his Cup Series career that he didn't go out and lead the most laps in at least 1 event per season. Wow. This will be the first time. He's done it 71 times in his career, the most of active drivers. That's 7th all-time on that list, which we are going to be publishing on theracingexperts.com as part of our databases we've been building to bring you guys more stats. But that's phenomenal in itself, that Johnson has not led the most laps in a single race this year.
So have they ordered any switches for 2018?
Say it again?
Have they ordered any switches?
Lowe's is low on invitory.
No. They're low on the lap led counter, too.
They're low on a couple things.
So, does Johnson lead the most laps on Sunday?
No.
I don't see it as me either.
I want to throw this at you guys, too. Jeff Bodine, when we talked earlier this week, said it's going to take the winner of the race to win the championship. We're going to see the guy who wins the title, who's hoisting that trophy, simultaneously host the race-winning trophy. Who's going to do it?
Well, for one, I don't think that that's actually going to happen. I think that I think that there's actually going to be, somebody else that wins the race. I mean, statistically speaking, because it's been, the last couple of years,
it's happened all 3 times.
All 3 times. So statistically speaking, at some point, it's got to happen. We talk about our sport and the fact that everybody gets to play in the Super Bowl. And, Green Bay, who's not going to make the Super Bowl this year. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
I'm not going to make, but Green Bay doesn't get to play. Everybody gets to play. So everybody's got a chance. So statistically speaking, it's 10% chance that one of these guys would win. And I don't see it. I think that Martin Truex will probably go out and lead the most laps, but I don't think he's going to win the race. I still think that Chase Elliott's going to win this race. Why? Because this is all rigged. No, I'm just kidding.
You just really want that storybook ending for him, David.
Think about it.
So
The 250 wins, the 24, goes out with a victory. Somebody else driving it other than Jeff Gordon. I think that's a fantastic story.
Well, real quick, who wins the championship?
Well, Martin Truex.
Martin Truex, I said it from the beginning.
I think the 78 will too. We're out of time here on the New Mexico Motorsports Report. We're going to wrap up Championship Weekend for you next weekend and all the happenings local. Catch us online at facebook.com/New Mexico Motorsports Report, online at nmmotorsportsreport.com, and on Twitter at NMM Report. For Brooklyn Green, David Swope, I'm Dominic Aragon. We'll see you next week.
When I train for American Ninja Warrior, I schedule regular workouts to stay in shape. To keep my car in Ninja Tough shape, I head to a Napa Auto Care Center for regular maintenance and genuine Napa Auto parts. Like brakes and batteries. I trust my Napa Auto Care Center for quality parts and quality service. And with the 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty, I drive away with peace of mind every time. Visit AutoCareNM.com to find a location near you.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that could happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car crash!